So today I want to talk to you about the gospel. Now I want you to imagine that somebody asks you, what is the Christian message? What is it fundamentally all about? Or I don't know if you've ever heard those stories where there's evangelists and they're talking about, I met this guy on the plane and I told him the gospel, and then when we got off the plane, he just wanted to be baptized, and everyone on the plane wanted to be baptized. And I'm going, whoa. Hang on, what did you tell him? Like, what exactly did you say? How did you say that? Well, I want to come with you to a passage in Colossians that explains this. I think it's a really great passage to help us to understand what the gospel is. So come with me to chapter 1, verses 21 to 23, and it gives you the gospel in 3 points. Let's read it together. Once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior. But now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death, present you holy in his sight, without blemish and free from accusation. If you continue in your faith, established and firm, and do not move from the hope held out in the gospel. I'm just going to leave it there for a moment. Now, there's 3 really key words that we need to understand when we look at this passage. And they're kind of at the start of each verse. Let me show you to you. So we've got once. That's what you were like before you became a Christian. And then, of course, the next one is but now. That kind of gives us, that's what's going to happen now that we've become a Christian. And then finally, if. Now those 3 things are the key kind of points. So the first one, verse 21, tells us once you were alienated from God and enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior. Now there's a couple of key ideas here. You were alienated, that is, you were out of relationship with God. And you were enemies. So that was the state of the relationship. And it was because of your evil behavior, it was the way that we live, but also because of the minds. It's the way that we think, our attitude and our posture before God. So there was really nothing in us that we could say, yeah, that was really good. I'm really glad. God would say, I'm really glad that person's there. No, we were his enemy. And this is the great glory of the gospel, is that when we were his enemy, he sent Jesus to die for us. And that's what happened. So, but now, it's not that we have, he has reconciled us. So that change of, we were alienated, we were out of relationship with God, but now he's reconciled us. In fact, he's adopted us. He's brought us into his family. And he has reconciled us and made us so that we might present us holy in his sight. Not that we are perfect, but that he sees us as perfect. Without blemish and free from accusation. And all of this is done not because of what we have done, but through Christ's physical body at the cross. It's through his death. Now, of course, the difference between once and but now is the last verse, if. If you continue in your faith. That is to say, if you trust in God's way of salvation rather than in any other way of doing salvation. That's what it's all about. And that's the gospel. Once we were alienated from God, but now he has reconciled us through Jesus if we continue to trust in him. It's a great message, isn't it? If you're not a Christian here today, that's what it means to be a Christian, and I hope that you learn to trust Jesus. And if you are a Christian, I really hope that you take this message and you share it with someone today. It may be a fellow Christian that you want to practice with and say, hey, do you remember what the gospel is? Let me tell you. It was once we were alienated from God, but now he's reconciled us back to himself through Jesus if we continue in our faith. Isn't that good news? Isn't it good news? I hope you get an opportunity to share it with someone today.